Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soul Seekers podcast, where we believe that hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure, as we share our mission of mentorship is conservation. To learn more about everything we do, check out our show on Carbon TV or go to soulseekersnation.com. Freedom on, everybody, and stay soulful. This podcast is also proudly brought to you by Onyx Hunt. When I first got into hunting, I kept hearing all about public land and different access and how to find different locations to hunt. I was like, well, how are people even identifying all this stuff? Well, sure enough, I came across the number one hunting GPS app, and that is Onyx Hunt. If you guys want to get better at hunting and go deeper into your scouting, Onyx Hunt is the number one GPS app for that. Join the millions of hunters who trust Onyx Hunt to find more game, discover new access, and hunt smarter. It was a game changer for me, and I know it's going to be a game changer for you if you've never used it. If you have used it, you know the power that it holds. Guys, I really hope you enjoy this episode. If you want to know more about Onyx, go to onyxmaps.com/hunt and check out their app. Be blessed, freedom on, and stay soulful. All right, guys, if you're in the market for a new hunting rifle this coming year, look no further than a Kelbly'S rifle. I've been rocking their Coda rifle for the last couple seasons, and I've had great success with it. It's an amazing shooter, and every time I put one of their rifles in somebody's hands, they're like, oh, I got to get one of these. Kelbly'S holds over 92 world and national records that are either broken or set on one of their actions or rifles. So they really set a higher level of accuracy. If you want to know more about Kelbly'S rifles, go to Kelbly.com. That's KELBLY.com. Tell them Johnny Mack sent you with Soul Seekers, and go enjoy shooting that much more in this coming hunting season. Be blessed, everybody. Go check out Kelbly Rifles. All right, guys, I got some awesome news for you before we get into today's episode. First off, thank you so much for tuning in to the show and being a supporter and follower of Soul Seekers Nation and the podcast and everything that we got going on. I want to say thank you. And one of the ways that I'm going to say thank you is I've teamed up with Kelbly'S Rifles and Carbon TV to have a giveaway for the month of September. We're going to be giving away a brand new Kelbly'S Atlas Tactical Short Action, and the giveaway runs from September 9th through the 16th. You're going to be needing to hop on social media and checking out the giveaway posts for details on that. We're going to pick a winner and announce on the 17th of September, but it's a $1,200 value. Build yourself your own rifle. You get to start it with a brand new Atlas Tactical Action. I have them, love them. They're amazing. Best action on the market. So be on the lookout for that and go enter. It doesn't cost anything to enter, but go support the show. Follow Kelbly'S, follow Soul Seekers, follow Carbon TV, comment, share. You know the routine. Anyways, enjoy today's episode and go enter our September giveaway. Be blessed, everybody. Have a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Soul Seekers podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Mack, and today I'm bringing you an episode of hope, of inspiration, of a beacon of light within the hunting world. It is my man, Armando Martinez, one half of the Simply Savage Solutions, the creator of the Bow Hitch out of the state of New Mexico. Awesome human beings. And when I hop on social media, there's a lot of different dynamics that I see day in and day out. Sometimes I have to hop on so I can post something and get off, because I just the way the world seems to get me down at times, and we can't let ourselves get down. But through all the weeds and all the distractions, there are people that shine bright in this world, and Armando is one of them. And I wanted to highlight him, his story, his journey, and figure out and ask him, why are you always smiling? Why are you always shining the goodness on this world and on social media and on the hunting culture, community, and all that? So without further ado, Armando, what's up, brother?
Hey, my man. Thank you. What an introduction. I'm blushing. You can't see me, but I promise you I'm blushing.
I love it. I love it. Well, bro, you are, like I just got done talking about, you shine bright. You shine bright. You make your presence known in this world. Has that always been something that is just your personality growing up? Like you were the kid who was always smiling, or is it something that you've had to develop in maturity?
No, man, I've been a happy kid. I don't know. I think more with maturity, I've been more grateful because I didn't know, like, I guess looking back how good it was and like the opportunities afforded to me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate to come up, traditional mom and dad, brothers and sisters. Like I went to school, I worked, I did all the things you're supposed to do, and I was just happy. Like I didn't have any traumatic events or nothing like that growing up. So in that respect, I was very fortunate. I grew up in the restaurant industry, so I was forced to work for my tips, and you get a lot more tips when you're smiling, dude. I figured that out. I figured that out pretty early. So I don't know, man. I don't like when I ask people, "Hey, man, what's up? How you doing?" And they give you some sob story, and it's like
Oh,
I just no matter what, hey, man, I'm doing good, thank you. How are you? Like I just try to bring people up, and so my energy, I just try to always, yeah, I not always, I typically have pretty good energy. So I don't know, man. I don't know if there's an answer to it, but I'm typically in a pretty good mood. I like to make sure people are not always, but I try to make sure people are happy and are taken care of. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
You can be taken care of without me being happy about it or you being happy about it, but sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah.
So
Well, everything comes down to a mindset, right? So I'm a school teacher. I am actually working in Texas. We call it a DAEP. I don't know, it's district approved, district alternative educational program.
okay,
Got a metal detector, no windows, kids go uniforms. 80% or maybe it's 70% of my students end up in prison. And if you work backwards from prison, 90% of people that go to prison went to a DAEP. It's
damn,
it's an interesting dynamic. Well, what we talk about with on top of education, right? You have language arts, history, science, math, all that. We do life skills with them. And life skills is to constantly address the learned helplessness within human beings. The idea that I like to throw out sports analogies, right?
sure,
And so the whole idea, like, if it's up to, or if it's meant to be, it's up to me, right? Like, if you got to be the change you want to see in the world, you can't. We're no victims here. We're not playing victim. We're not playing, oh, I can't, I suck, I'm no good, no one loves me. No, this victim mentality. It's teaching them that life is happening for you. It's not happening to you. If you want something, go out and get it. And the words that we speak become the house that we live in. And if your house needs some fresh paint or it needs a remodel, then doggone it, start speaking the words that are positive about you and your life, because that house represents the words that, in the Bible it says, out of the heart the mouth speaks, right? Either you're going to speak life or you're going to speak death. And so we need to make sure that we are constantly picking our words and being intentional with how we show up, not only for ourselves and actually very importantly for ourselves, but also for the world. But you got to put your own oxygen mask on first before you help others.
dude. Yes, I'm tracking 1 billion%. Kind of my phrase, coming up to the fire department was, if not me, then who?
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of like, this is a shitty job, at times, but it's like I was blessed to be able to perform this function. Like I wouldn't be doing my service that I was put here for if I didn't do it. Like
Yeah.
somebody else could sit in my seat, but they won't do it the way I'll do it. That's kind of the way I see it. So pressure is a privilege. That phrase has always stuck with me.
Hmm.
Um,
I've never
you
heard
know,
that before. Say that again, will you?
Oh, pressure is a privilege. Like, if you get put in that spot, I retired from I was the captain of the fire investigations division for Albuquerque Fire Department. Um, Very busy department, 22 stations. Last year we ran 130,000 calls. So, I mean, we're up there. And so I ran the arson unit, and for me, some of those calls are pretty heavy, man. And people only call at their worst times, and when bad things happen, there's just a lot of things that can happen. And so for me, I took it out, as this pressure that I have to make the right call to make sure we pursue whatever we need to, and to bring justice to whichever direction it needs to go. Like, that's a privilege to be able to do it. And you need to rise to that occasion and do it you need to do it justice. So but in all positions, like you said, sports, like, you want to be that cleanup hitter, you want the ball in the bottom, the last second buzzer. Like, that's a privilege to be called upon to do that.
Yeah.
So I feel, honestly, kind of in my everyday life, I feel like the pressure's always on. I Being a father is a privilege, and it has a lot of pressure, right? Like, there's decisions you make every day that you don't know where they're gonna, where they're gonna end up coming to light. The conversation I just had with my son, or for my daughter, like, they're gonna remember some of these things, and it's
Mhm.
up to you to make sure that the ones they do remember, you are on point, man. You can't have an off day.
Yeah. Man, I like that. See, did you know that you're a motivational speaker? Is that a
I,
part-time job for you, or
dude, I like. I've been fortunate to hear a lot of really good people and surrounded by some good leaders. So I feel that it would be a disservice if I didn't share that. So when I do remember a cool quote or a good phrase that resonates with me, I'm not a good bullshitter. I can't, like, if I'm gonna be telling a fib or something, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. It tastes like vinegar, and you'll know it immediately.
yeah.
So when I hear these things and I remember them, and I feel that somebody kind of needs to hear it, I don't have a problem giving them this, like, way out of left field talk, because I think that might be what they need right now. So for the motivational type of speaker, I think like, that might have, been an off the wall thing, but I know I do it all the time, because people are like, dude, I didn't know I needed to hear that all the time.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
pretty
and,
cool.
and that's what shows up to me on social media. When I see you and I follow your account, I'm like, okay, there's Armando preaching it again. Let it rip, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy, dude, because I think like, even sometimes when I do a post, I'll think, man, maybe Johnny posted something, or he's going through this, or something happened. And it'll be a post just for you. And it doesn't make any sense to anybody else, right?
Yeah.
But I put it out there because maybe it does. Like, your situation is yours, my situation is mine, but this might be important for somebody to hear.
Mm.
Like today, I ordered that hoodie. That hoodie came in last night. That picture that I posted, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it's to the effect of, to the person standing behind me, just remember, you're beautiful, you're kind, and you're worth it, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's freaking pretty cool, dude. Like, so some people need to hear that, because they don't have a, I tell my kids I love them about 4 billion times a day. Some people don't hear that, and that breaks my heart. So
Oh
when
man.
I could spread that, I do.
I I
Especially, yeah.
no, I don't want to cut you off. I was just gonna say I really
Yeah.
appreciate that about you.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, like, for your school, I would love to, y'all get through to one or two kids, and that might be enough to, because you don't know where that trickle down effect makes a difference.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I'm constantly challenged when it comes to this idea of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? And society as a whole, especially with the indoctrination system that public education is, it it teaches you how to answer questions on a test, but the critical thinking and the observational awareness seems to be like gone, right?
yeah,
Right, like
yeah,
and I don't know if that's just society as a whole, but what you're talking about is like I think people need to really look in the mirror and look themselves in the eye and be like, I'm worthy of a better life. I'm
bro.
worthy of love. I'm worthy of learning this education, getting this education. I'm worthy of anything that I put my mind to. And there's a worthiness effect that's taking place in this world where, maybe it has to do with social media, and it's like, oh, look at all the highlights that everyone else is living, where I'll never get that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, we,
Let me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this fits right in with what you're saying. And I don't know if you've heard this quote, but if you haven't, I would pretty much guarantee you'll write it on the board at some point in time for your kids. But the quote, and I don't know where it came from or where I heard it, but it's been in my mind for years. And it says, I am better than no man, and I am second to no man. And so that's kind of the way I love to preach to people and to tell them, like, speaking to exactly your worth. Like, hey man, that's great that you're a fantastic athlete, or that whatever, like that you're a better hunter than I am, that you fish better, that you've got better hair than I do. Like, all these things are great that you have these, right? Like, it's a beautiful thing that you have that, but that doesn't make you better than anybody. Like, I am better than nobody. I have my skills and my gifts that I was blessed with, but that doesn't make me better than you. But at the same time, I don't care what room I walk into. If I've got to report to the mayor, if the governor's in town, like if I have to give a spiel for an arson fire or something like that, like, dude, I belong here just like you guys do. I own my spot in whatever room I walk into because I'm second to not to be cocky or to be rude, but like, you are worth it. You can walk into any
yeah.
room, and that's what those kids need to hear. You walk into any room because you belong there, man. You
hmm
you give them you hold your own. You
Yeah.
could be there.
I have a
So
contract that I have. It's my background of my phone, but I've also written it on my mirror so that every when I'm standing in front of the sink, I see it and I read it over and over, and it's my contract with myself. And any time that I feel not worthy, not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, not all the adjectives you could ever put in there, my contract I go back to. It's like, I know who I am. And when we know who we are and we know our worth, nothing can stop us. My contract is, I am a powerful, inspiring, loving leader. That's Johnny Mack. I'm a powerful, inspiring, loving leader. And that's what you're going to get from this podcast. That's what you're going to get from me when we meet in person. And anytime there's self-doubt creeps in, be like, no, I know who I am. I'm
yeah,
powerful. I'm powerful. I'm inspiring, and inspired people inspire other people, and I'm
million
loving,
percent.
you know, a lot of everybody just wants to be loved, right? Well, you got to love yourself first. And in order to love yourself, you got to be worthy. You got to believe that you're worthy of love. And so let it come down. And, a lot of people in my world that I teach in, well, it's all about respect, right? Like, you can't disrespect me. They'll disrespect you. It's like, give the respect, you'll get the respect. Um,
Yeah.
but
I've
how?
I've heard I've heard you mention your contract before, and it gives me chills to hear it because it's like, what your body needs, right? Like, that heals your soul, like that completes your circle.
Yeah,
And everybody has their own thing, so they can use yours, they can use mine, they can use whoever, but we all know what we need, which is it's like the self-worth thing. Like, what you're capable of and what you need and what you
mm,
don't, and you give it to yourself, man, and you can do it. You can do anything.
yes, we all
Yeah.
can. Look at you. You started up an awesome outdoor hunting company, Simply Savage Solutions, but but a lot of people know you as the Bow Hitch. But you created an amazing product that's really impacting people, and and that was because it started with you believing that you could actually create something of value for other people, right?
Dude, exactly. We didn't know nothing. My partner and I are both firemen. No education, no formal education, no engineering, no like we both came up, in a school probably like the one that you taught at, man. Down in the South Valley of Albuquerque, pretty rough, and there was a problem that needed to be solved, and we came out with a solution, and even though we have a super cool product, I think uh, the thing people most like about us is just us.
Yeah.
They're buying us, dude. They're not buying that. I mean, they're buying the Bow Hitch because the Bow Hitch is cool and it just a simple product and it works. But for the most part, in all the business stuff that I studied since we got started, is people are buying you. They're not buying a bow hitch. They're
Right.
buying you. And so when we go out and we go to the trade shows and stuff like that, and we interact, that's I'm showing them the bow hitch. I don't sell anybody anything. I'm showing them the bow hitch, and if they want to buy it, cool. But
Yeah.
they're, like when people log on and they start following us on at on Instagram, I do this to, I would say we probably hit 75% of people, probably 90 that are public profiles, and we say, hey man, Johnny, thanks for the follow and welcome to Team Bow Hitch.
Yeah.
Because that's what we feel we're selling is our community.
I love that. See, and I don't want to. I want to talk about your business and the products you deliver, but that's why I view you like you are known outside of your own mind and what you're creating as somebody who's shining bright in a world that needs some brightness, in a
Yeah.
world that has some darkness in it. And uh, one of the things is when it ties into my mission of mentorship as conservation, like you said, people will buy whatever product you're selling if they buy you. Like you got to sell yourself first. And so when it comes to the recruitment, the activation, the retention of hunters and getting people involved, I get so sad when I hear people not tell inspiring stories of hunting, of adventure, of adversity, of overcoming, of the hero's journey. This idea that I was in a bad place and I had inspiration and I challenged myself, and through grit and determination I overcame, and maybe I had a mentor or a guide, maybe I didn't, but I figured it out. And all of a sudden I have this, precipice moment of like, whoa, my life was transformed through this simple active experience that now has provided me a perspective to be able to speak and share and talk and inspire, and all because I decided I wanted to feed myself and I wanted to feed my families.
Dude, you're feeding the soul, man. That's what you're feeding. You're like, there's just so many opportunities to gain confidence and to allow yourself in a place of solitude to be better, right? Like you can make mistakes, you can armchair quarterback yourself, you can do all these things, but you can also be great out there and make a right decision, right? And work harder. So I have a couple, like I like writing things down so I can see them too. So on my bino harness on the top, when I look down, if I put my head down, it says work harder on it.
Mm.
Just a little reminder on my pack frame. I have for the guy behind me. It says one step at a time. You know, that's you. You just do it one step at a time. You get to the top of the mountain, man.
Yeah.
And when I'm guiding hunters, like it's just encouragement, because once they feel that they can do it, the hunt is totally different. If
Yes.
they look up and they're like, let's just go sit a tank. Let's just let's go dry. Let's do something different, because they're afraid of it. And I'm like, come on, man. We're just going to go to that tree. It's one step at a time. And, by the time they look down, they're like, bro, we made it to the top of the ridge,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just that there's always room to empower somebody. So if you guys are listening to this, like, I know it's already in your mindset, but your your mission when you're with somebody is to make them that hero. They need to feel empowered. They need to be reminded that they're worthy of the spot that they're in, and that they can do it. And it's very easy. It's a simple compliment. It's a simple reminder. Hey man, we're right here. Like,
Yeah.
look, or take a minute, look around. Like, this is epic. This is what we're doing. And remind them of the small victories, and the blessing of the opportunity to be where you are at that time, because
Mm.
a lot of people can't do it. A lot of people are afraid to do it. A lot of people haven't had the opportunity, which is rough. So when you can share that and bless somebody with the confidence to believe in themselves, that means you just empowered them to take somebody out because they feel that they have something to offer.
Yeah. I just got done releasing an episode titled "Flexing Your Courage Muscle." Right. And the whole idea behind that title is the fact that you don't use it, you lose it, right? And courage is a muscle just like anything else, and it has to be worked out, and it has to be worked out daily. And when we put ourselves in situations that require courage, whether it's being alone in the woods or being in the dark or having that difficult conversation with a coworker or with your spouse, or whatever it may be, maybe it's the challenge to say no when you've always said yes and always given in, right? Whether it's
Sure.
food, alcohol, drugs, sex, pornography, like the list goes on. Maybe, but these small little wins of microdosing courage just constantly flexes it. And it's like, all right, my mom always said, inch by inch is a cinch. Mile by mile may take a while, but inch by inch is a cinch. Exactly what you were saying is like just one more step. Just keep going. Small bites, small bites. And eventually you'll eat that whole elephant. Just don't think
Yeah.
about eating that whole elephant at the beginning.
Yeah, man. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves now. Like if you're listening to this podcast, you're fortunate enough to be able to do that. Like you have a half an hour, you have an hour to burn. You're thinking of conservation. You're a forward thinking individual, which is awesome. So that means you are privileged, right? Like you're listening to this on your $200 headphones, in your
Right.
test, in
On
your
your
testing, right?
$1,000
Like, yeah,
phone or whatever.
exactly. So you are like, you're privileged. Like you have the opportunity to provide a lot to some people who might not know they need it. So that pressure is on you right now, listeners. It's a privilege to have that pressure. So believe in yourself and know that you can do it.
Man, I want to read the definition of privilege because in my world of education and this whole idea that white privilege gets thrown around so much that ultimately there's certain words that are almost buzzwords and a negative connotation of like, I don't even want to hear you use that word. One of the types of I can't stand when people say hunting is a privilege. That hunting is a right. Hunting, I have the right to be able to figure out how to feed myself, and if it's by me going out and doing the killing, I will do that. But the definition, as used as a noun, says a privilege is a special advantage, immunity, permission, right, or benefit granted to or enjoyed by an individual, class, or caste. So when it says permission, and what did you just get done saying? It's you got to give yourself permission to be here, right?
Yeah,
It's a
you give
privilege to
yourself
be
some.
here.
Yeah, you give yourself some grace, man. Like you earned it.
Oh man,
It's not given to you. It's earned.
yeah. What you being a firefighter for a long time, how does that affect you, or what mentalities did you learn to be able to apply to yourself on your journeys out in the woods and the wild?
Um, Really to slow down. Like when you're in an environment where the house is on fire, where someone's dying, where you're doing like it's an OD or a bad accident or whatever. Like to be able to slow things down,
Hmm.
like an effective officer is one who can. It's like Major League Baseball, basketball, football. When the guys go to the big leagues and they're in the zone, they just say the game slows down. You know, you go
Yeah.
into your first house fire and shit is going bananas and you're freaking out and you're hyperventilating, you're sweating like 2 pounds of sweat before you even get into the fire. And by the end of your career, you go in, you knock it out, you come out, and you're like, okay, like we're good.
Yeah.
It's just it slows the game down. So I think that over the course of a 20-year career was able for me to just remind myself, hey man, everybody's okay. You're okay. The situation is non-life threatening. Like it just brings it into perspective. I think
Mm.
after seeing what I've seen, everything just comes into perspective, and I'm able to slow it down.
Do you find hunting slows down for you, or is that something that you're constantly having to challenge yourself? Be like, no, slow down.
I on my rangefinder pouch, it says slow down, because once you're touching your rangefinder, it's go time, right? That's when people make mistakes. That's when I tend to rush it. So that's my reminder.
Hmm.
Slow down. slow. That's when you slow it down, because sometimes you do have to go 100 miles an hour to get yourself into that situation, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the time to slow down. So that's when I do it.
Man, I love that. You recently had a pretty cool experience with your kids out hunting, right?
My daughter, dude, oh my gosh, you talk about adversity and just it was epic. Yeah, I'll try to tell you quickly. It was in June of this year. Um, my daughter, she drew an off-range oryx hunt. So oryx or gems buck from Africa. The big long horns are white and gray, and they're just beautiful. And so they were transplanted to New Mexico onto the White Sands Missile Range. So once they were transplanted in the 50s, since then they've grown and multiplied, and they've come out of the missile range. So they provide a hunt outside the range, which is difficult because the animals know they're safer on the range. So when they come off, we're allowed to hunt them if you draw a tag. So my daughter drew this tag. We had already been out, 3 times, and hadn't killed anything. It's in the heat of her volleyball, competitive club volleyball, and so we only have a day here and a day there to get out. Well, uh, the first 2 times, we went out, didn't see anything that we can go after. Third day, we go out, and I'm like, okay, baby, if we hurry, we can get there and hunt for like an hour in the evening.
Mm.
We'll sleep in the back of the cruiser. And then in the morning, we'll get up and we'll hunt until about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And then we have to head home for practice or a game or whatever it was. And okay, daddy, let's go. I want to go. So we went, dude. And we get to a spot. We start glassing. It was really windy. Sun is going down like 20, 30 minutes till the sun goes down. I'm up on a hill glassing. I get a little bit of video. I'm talking to her. Her hair's just blowing. She's this beautiful kid, right? And she's just acting. She's 14. She's acting like a child. It was perfect. Like she just happy to be there with me, which is like warmed my heart right there.
Yeah.
Me, I put the pressure on myself to make it happen anytime I'm helping somebody hunt. So I'm like, baby, I'm gonna find you one, okay? Okay, daddy. Whatever. Okay, daddy. So I'm looking, and I find this oryx, and it's about 2 miles out. So I tell her, baby, I got you one. I said, but it's far, so you need to tell me right now. Like, you see that hill over there? It's way over there.
Yeah.
We have to go right now if you want to get them, and we're not going to slow down. Let's go get them, daddy. Okay, dude. We got on them. We threw this killer stalk. It was epic. It got to 60 yards before we finally bumped into him. Could have shot him with my bow. And anyway, he bumps and he runs to like 150, and she smokes him. Sun goes down by the time we walk over to him. Uh, Terrible service. It's just her and I. We're 2 miles from the truck. Dark. So her and I chop up the animal. We cut it up, and my buddy calls, and he's like, "Hey man, I called him. Excuse me, and told him, hey, Shano, we're in this area. We shot one." He goes, "I'm on my way." He's like 3 hours away. I'm like, "Shano, it's far, dude. It's okay. We'll figure. I'll get it. I'll just take a couple trips. I'll be fine." And he goes, "No, man." He goes, "I'm leaving my house in 15 minutes. Uh, Keep an eye out. I'll be there in about 3 hours." All right, cool. So, so Layla and I process the animal, dude. We cut it all up. We do our thing, and it was just fantastic. And she helps me. We have it laying down, and it's getting late and late. So I build her a fire. She's sleeping by the fire, dude. I'm looking at the stars. It was just the most beautiful experience with her, man. The most beautiful. She was just happy. She was satisfied with what she did. She got a little bit sad, like all of the range of emotions. But I just got to spend that time with her. And so after a few hours, my buddy's running late. He's like an hour late, hour and a half late. And my phone dies, it almost dies. One of my 2 headlamps dies. We're running low on food because we weren't supposed to be gone that long.
Uh-huh.
So she had some snacks and granola bars and stuff. But it's, as a father, you're like, dude, how would you put your daughter in this situation? Like, you're 2 miles from the truck. One of your headlights is dead. How is that possible? How is your phone almost dead? Like, I'm just beating myself up, dude. She could care less. She's asleep. She's nice and warm. I have a little fire for her. It's the summer. It was probably like a 65-degree night. It was epic. The
Yeah.
wind stopped. It was perfect. It was the most perfect night we could have ever asked for. And but man, my buddy finally he shows up. I find him and we do the whole deal. He comes, we wake up Layla and she throws on her backpack, packs some stuff in her bag, and we get back to the truck, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning by the time we get back. And she just did it all with a smile, man. Just I don't know. That one was amazing. Amazing.
What's it like sharing hunting with your children?
Oh man, it's they get to understand it, right? Because they've heard me talk of it, they've seen me do it, they hear me talk about they don't understand why I think it's important for me to take other people. Like it doesn't make sense to them, right?
Mm,
Like, Daddy, why would you be gone from us to spend that much time for a stranger? I'm like, Layla, you don't understand, baby. Like when people hunt with me, it's different. Like, I'm able to give them something that a lot of other guides that I know, might not give them the same way because I listen to them, I see what they want. Like I'm very, observant. So
mm,
I'm able to really cater a hunt to that one person to make sure that this experience is what they're looking for. And then I teach them something along the way. I'm not that guy that's just like, hey, just get behind me and shut your mouth and I'm going to go find an animal, you go shoot it. Like I want it to be an experience for that person. I feel that when they're hunting with me, that's what they're paying for. That's what ultimately everybody wants is the experience.
mhm.
The animal is the trophy at the end, which is great, but they can only show the picture one or two times, right?
Right.
The stories will live on. The stories will be, hey man, dude, Armando, he did this and he showed me this, and now I can share that with somebody else and share that with somebody else.
Yeah. And that's so ironic because we just got done talking about at the beginning of the podcast is how you share stories is one of the biggest things, right?
That dude. I'm, when we have time to talk, and I don't want to keep you up all night, but like, there's, it's the little things that are important in the details that will make a story great, right? Like that story I could tell you, and it'll take an hour, and you're gonna feel it all, and you could shut your eyes, and tonight when you go to sleep, you're gonna be like, dude, I felt like I was there. Like I was exhausted, my legs were shaking too.
Yeah.
Like two hindquarters going through the sand, like 2 miles of sand is stupid. Like, why would you do that? And like I literally had baby drop legs, like I was smoked. But I was like, Layla, this is like the most amazing thing, baby. Like I'll do it. I'll be okay. We'll go slow, but I got my initial ascent pack on. We'll be all right.
Ain't that the truth, right?
Yeah.
So, it's so amazing that I had somebody, so I trained for 100-mile ultra marathon
Dude,
and
I thought
I,
thought we were compatible, bro. I think you're crazy. Now I think you're crazy.
oh, that's so funny. Um, and someone asked me, they go, why do you want to run a 100-mile race? And I said, because I want to know how hard things are and what I can overcome. Right?
Yep.
Like we create these mental blocks for ourselves like, "Oh, that's too hard. Oh, that's too difficult. I can never do that. I could never go through that experience." When ultimately it's just an experience and you're gonna make it through the other side if you want to, right?
Yeah. Billion percent. You can do it. Do you want to do it?
Right. It's how bad do you want it? What are you willing to trade? What are you
Yeah.
willing to exchange in order to accomplish that?
A billion percent, dude. There's no excuses for anything. I totally feel that way.
I
You
f-
can make excuses, but that's all it is an excuse of why you won't do it.
yeah, I feel like the majority of society lives in such an insulated, uh, protective, soft life that they that we don't put ourselves in challenging and in difficult situations enough. Like to really make sure we're awake, to really make sure we're in tune with our senses, to really understand and be able to listen to our gut and our intuition, be like, no, I can do this, or this isn't safe. I need
Yes,
to make a change right here.
for sure.
And because we're so insulated from challenging situations, we more often than not, and I'm talking general here, I could be wrong, but my view of society is that we're so disconnected because we do not put ourselves in these types of situations.
Dude, we don't push ourselves for anything. Like I was just talking to a buddy on the way home from work today, and he was like, "Mondo, I was on the side of the road for 2 hours waiting for this truck driver to come, or for a guy to come fix my semi. But he had a blowout. So the guy finally drives in from Albuquerque, gets to him. This guy's already 2.5 hours late from being back, with his load,
Hmm.
and the guy wants to sit there and take a smoke break. And he's like, dude, I've been here for 2.5 hours waiting for you, and now you want to take a break? Just like, what is the deal? Like,
Yeah,
people just aren't pushed. They don't. I think it's a lot of uh, just unmotivated people. Like the work ethic is really lacking right now, and I think it's because you can get away with it. You
mhm,
can have shitty service at a restaurant, and people are still going to come. Like
yeah,
back in the day. Oh, I'm sorry. What can I do for you? Let me make that again. Let me, that's going to be on the house. That's going to be whatever. Now, customer service and self respect for the product that you're putting out isn't what it used to be.
mm,
And I think that's a big part of it is people can get away with providing an inferior product, that being themselves. They
yeah.
could get away with not being a 10. Like my dad will knock the hell out of me if I wasn't, giving my, this is your job, you need to do it.
Yeah.
And there's not another way.
We all make mistakes, right?
Sure.
We all come short time and time again. We need to be the man in the arena, but there is no effort without error and shortcomings, right? So it was really interesting when in the month of April I challenged my followers on social media to join me in 100 burpees a day for the month of April. And I don't expect everyone to do it, right? But I do expect that if you say you're going to do it,
Do it.
you do it. And it is fascinating to me to see people say, I'm going to do it. And then they're like, oh man, life got just too busy, or I just, and I'm thinking to myself, now granted, 100 burpees sounds like insurmountable, like, oh my gosh, that's hard. But once you get into the rhythm of it, you actually get your workout done in like 10 to 12 minutes. It's not that long of a time period as compared to being in the gym slamming weights for an hour or going
Sure.
for a multi-mile run. It's like 10 to 12 minutes and you're breaking a sweat and you're feeling amazing about yourself is so special. But a lot of people said to me, like, why burpees? And I said, because they suck.
That's the worst exercise on the planet, dude.
They
On the
suck
planet.
because it doesn't. It's not even about the actual motion of the burpee. It's the mental hurdle that I have to get over every single day to say I'm putting my hands on the ground and
Yeah.
that's it. The hardest one is the first one.
Sure.
It's amazing that
Yeah.
we tell ourselves these stories in our heads. We allow these stories to build and to be these unconquerable demons or mountains or whatever you want to describe it as they just shrink people. Like, where's your courage?
Yeah.
Where is your
First
courage?
first step is the hardest, man. First burpee's the hardest. I did that. I did I think it was 250 kettlebell swings a day for one of the months, and then another one was a couple hundred push-ups. Or whatever it was, 100 push-ups. I don't quite remember, but it's the same thing. It's just to say you're gonna hold yourself accountable.
Right.
If you say you're gonna do it, go do it.
Right. And it's really interesting is where is the integrity of people not with others, right? Like, oh, I need a spotter. I need somebody to hold me accountable. Where is the I'm going to hold myself accountable. When I said I'm going to do a burpees every day, and I get in my bed at night and I lay my head down on that pillow and I go, "Oh crap, I forgot to do my burpees." Do you just say, "Ah, I'll do twice as much tomorrow," or this one day is not going to hurt? It's not about the burpees.
No, not at
It's
all.
about the integrity that you hold
Uh,
with yourself.
yep.
And if people can gather that and be like, "Oh, okay." It's not even about doing them 100 at a time. It's do 3, do 5, spread it out throughout your day so you don't have an excuse. It's all it is a tool to hold yourself in alignment and integrity.
Yeah, that's it, dude. I mean, if you could keep yourself in check, you'll be unstoppable.
Right. You know, the integrity, easy way that I have always remembered is like what you're like when no one's looking.
Mhm.
Right. So, how's your relationship with your spouse? Or what are you doing when you're not with her? What are you
Sure.
doing when you're alone? What are you doing when your boss isn't watching? What do like
Billion percent. Yep.
where is the integrity of humans? Um, these are part of the things that I like why I do the podcast, Soul Seekers. Like we're seeking after the souls of others, but we're seeking after our own soul. It's time to get in alignment, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like you said earlier, dude. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't help others. So,
Mm,
you know, you lead the horse to water, but you show him how to drink. Like he's next to you, teach him this is how you do it. That's the best way. Empower them to make the right decision, and you show them
yeah,
this is a good way to do it.
yeah.
You're empowered. You're able. It's up to you to make that choice, and it's
Eh,
up to them after that.
man, I love it. You said you like to take people out hunting.
I love it.
Why?
The newer the better, because especially you mentioned social media earlier, and then there's YouTube and any other thing you want to watch. But I think a lot of people just see things as easy, right? Like the people that are out there killing giants or big bulls a year hunt 90 days a year.
Mm,
Anybody could kill a big bull if you hunt 90 days a year. Like that, people need to understand that you can't go out as a weekend warrior and expect to kill a 350 bull in a 300 unit. It's like people need to be realistic with the opportunities they have. And if you don't have the education, you shouldn't expect yourself to have the outcome that these people have on TV that do it professionally, right? Like there's some really good hunters out there, and that's why they have the followers they do. And they're good with the camera, and they're, somewhat personable and able to be engaging with you. That's
mm,
the thing. People are watching the journey. Like the big bull at the end is cool. It's the journey that they're able to take you on to show that hunt.
yeah.
You know, they'd probably get pretty close to as many if with an average sized bull or an average sized buck or whatever, because it's the storytelling. And that's what people like. That's what's attractive, I think, is that's what people want to be a part of. They want to know that they can do it. So when I take people out, I want them to know you can do it. You shouldn't expect certain things without like I want people to see the whole picture. Um, from the arson stuff, we would go in, and one of the biggest thing is you cannot walk into a room or to a fire and say with a preconceived notion of this is what happened, because you show up to a house fire. I'll give you an example. You show up to a house that was on fire. You see this guy getting brought out in cuffs. He's tatted all over his face, stuff like that. You come out, wife is beat to shit. She's bloody and blued and all that, and the
Hmm.
kids are afraid and they're crying. And so you walk up, and the lieutenant, that put the fire out says, "Oh, I just talked to the neighbor. They said this guy always tunes her up and this and that." And they give you this story. But I have to walk into this house fire with none of that on my mind. What are the facts? What am I working with here?
Yeah.
And I have to come up with my own conclusion, unbiased, of what is happening around me.
Mm,
You know, that outside stuff has nothing to do with what's in front of me. Like I have my mission. I have to go in and figure out how this fire started. I have to eliminate this, eliminate that. and narrow it down to one thing to be like, dude, this was an accidental fire.
Yeah.
Like, like this 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 was a two totally separate incidents, like
Right.
I don't know. I forget exactly what your question was, but I like taking people to I just want them to know like they're capable of it, and what they see on TV they shouldn't expect for themselves.
Mm.
I don't know that I'm answering the question or bringing it back, but um, is this on track? I forgot
Yeah.
the exact question that you asked.
Well, the exact question is,
Sorry.
why do you like taking people out hunting?
Oh, that okay. Sorry. That's why. So I feel that they put so much pressure on themselves. Like personally, this is the way I see it. People come out and they want to be like, "Hey, man, this guy, I paid for him to be taking me hunting. He must know everything. Like this camel must be the best. These binos must be the best. That rifle, wow, what kind of tripod is that?" Like, and so I like to take people and be like, "Dude, it doesn't matter. Like, you can have this jacket, you can have this tripod. None of this stuff matters. Like, these are things that make my job easier and more comfortable, so I could think more freely, and I'm not worried about my equipment. I could just teach you and show you, hey man, I'm focused on you, not my gear.
Hmm.
The gear doesn't mean anything. I'm focused on you, and I want you to have an experience to where you feel confident in it. And when you go home, you're like, that was the best hunt I ever had in my life, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I felt safe. I learned something. Like, that's one of my big things. I felt safe. I learned a lot. And this guy genuinely cared that I had a good time. If we killed something, cool. Um, like that, those are my priorities.
Mm.
You need to be safe. Yeah, I want you to ask for me. Recommend me. Not that I want to hunt with other people, but because if you're a satisfied customer, dude, that's like, and anything in sales, like that means I gave you value. Like what you paid me for, you got every ounce out of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's important. I just don't ever want somebody to, you show up to a 5-star restaurant and you're like, dude, that steak was whack. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. Right. Right. I don't know this about. Are you a hunting guide, or are you somebody just likes to take people out hunting?
No, I did guiding for a while, so both. Sometimes it was paid, and my wife, she was like, dude, like, so her birthdays during muzzleloader season, and then our anniversaries during rifle season.
Ouch.
So it got pretty bad when I got pretty into guiding, and so finally when I got into the captain spot in arson, I swapped over to a 40-hour work week, so I couldn't take that much time off.
Yeah.
So I just quit guiding, and then I would just go out on weekends. So she's like, "Oh, good. Now you just take people out for free." She's like, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but I wish you were just guiding regularly again, so at least you'd make some money."
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just I won't just go with anybody either. Um, they gotta
Uh,
they,
Can,
they gotta want it.
I gotta interject right there. That is a very important statement. Say that again. You won't
Yeah,
just
I
go.
will I will not just go with anybody. The desire to want to learn has to be there. The desire to put in the work beforehand. I've given people punch lists. If you do this, this, and this, I will be there. If you miss any of those, I will not be there because you're not all in.
Yeah.
You're not investing the time. I'm not going to babysit you. So um, that I mean, it's a very simple thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm not here to take time away from my family. There's tons of stuff I have to do. Like
Yeah.
my bandwidth is ridiculous, right? Like so for me to pull away is like I hope people understand. Like if I pull away to go help you, like I'm this is me giving you because I love you and because I want to see you succeed at this and be happy. Like
Hmm.
I'm giving you a gift that you can go and give.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's
Y- You
that's the
know,
way I see it.
it's amazing. I think this is one of the biggest fears that people hold within the hunting world about not mentoring other hunters or not mentoring new people is that they're scared that either A, they don't know enough to be able to teach somebody, but really B comes down to they don't want to get caught in the woods or the wilderness or wherever your hunting location might be with somebody who's not up to par, who's not mentally, physically, emotionally, like the list goes on, of prepared, of being like, okay, it's not just this idea of, yeah, I want to try hunting. And I don't even like using the word try because it's either do or do not. Like I want to experience hunting. And that's important. And the best experiences are always going to be had when everything's laid out specifically, right? I mentored a guy on a hunt in the state of Washington. We actually, well, I don't want to give too many details away because that would be rude. Um, it was a bad experience for me. And in the state of Washington, and at this point, I never have shot a branch antlered buck. Okay, so I've shot a spike, I've shot does. I've never shot a branch antlered buck, nor, and still to this day, I've never shot a mule deer.
Okay.
On this hunt, I could have shot a mule deer. I didn't because I wanted this guy who we brought to experience it and to shoot this deer. But in the process of him not being sharp and prepared throughout the entire process, he was loud, he was fumbling, he was not ready to go, right? Like you got to be ready to make it happen. And if you're not, then maybe we need to start on a different style of hunt or a different type of hunt.
Sure.
But this was the one time I actually got to hunt deer that season. So it wasn't like, I'm taking my extra time. I'm already filled my tag. It's I also have not filled my tag and I'm taking you. So I get this guy over and blows these bucks out and they're gone. And he was really frustrated. I was really frustrated. I definitely did my best to not let it show. But I was like, man, I could have shot that deer. And he was like, yeah, but if you would have shot that, I would have been really upset. And oh, that one got me. I was like, dude, remember where you're at and why you're here and how you got here. And everyone has ego. And so we need to make sure that if you got to be a good fit for a mentor and a mentee
For sure.
as well, you got to be compatible unless there's an exchange of money, which that makes it completely different, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, yeah, you got to be equally yoked to have a good experience.
Yeah. I think I like the way I take it, it's disrespectful that if somebody comes and they're not doing their part. Like if I've already told you something 2 or 3 times, at this point in time, you don't care and you're not giving this opportunity and my time the respect it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
So that drives me crazy because if you don't care, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
If you don't care to make this a better opportunity for yourself, what are we doing here? Like, we'll just go sit on a hillside,
Yeah.
or we'll hike straight uphill for 5 days. Like
Yeah.
we could make this ridiculous
Yeah.
if you want to, but just I don't know, that's a tough one right there.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be a team. So in that hunt, it sounds like he was on his own team. You thought you were on a 2-man team, and this guy's shooting plain solo ball.
Yeah.
So that communication, man, the it's it can make or break anything. A hunt, a business, a friendship, a marriage, anything. Communication. So if you go in and you're not on the same page, at least you know that up front.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, like I don't know. That's communication is pretty expectations. You can ask what their expectations are out of you, and you can give them your expectations out of them. All I want you to do is give an effort, man. Like if I tell you something, like just do it, and then we can discuss it after,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll tell you why I made that decision.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier. Like, okay, I'm going to bite my tongue right now, and then once you explain it, they're like, well, dude, there's 4 things I never thought of. that's why I did it, but I can't explain that to you in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
But now like you never would have looked at it. You never would have thought about that thermal. You never would have like it could be a billion different things. But just the communication of it. Let me explain to you why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way.
It's really interesting that you say that, and I appreciate it so much because ultimately, every successful relationship comes down to communication, right?
Yep.
Success. It doesn't even have to be a relationship. Success comes down to good communication.
Yes, sir.
And that, if you apply it to hunting, then the success of your hunt comes down to good communication, right?
Yes, sir. Billion percent.
I love it.
In every aspect of it. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Armando, you are an amazing human being. You don't fake the funk, brother. What you see and show on social media is what I've received here on this podcast. I really appreciate it. I want to acknowledge you for being an awesome human being.
Thank you, man. I'm a people person for sure, but you surround yourself with like-minded people, man. So that goes right back to you, your energy. Since we've been trying to hook up for a long time, and actually, it was Dennis and Joe told me, dude, you got to get on with Johnny Mack. Like you guys are gonna hit it off. Like you're just, they told me this years ago. They're like, you're gonna love him. You guys will hit it off. Just I'll get you guys hooked up.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because certain people see that, right? They're like, dude, you're gonna love this person. You're gonna love that person. They're gonna, you guys will hit it off. And 9 out of 10 times they're right.
Yeah.
But I'm a genuine person, and I won't get along with everybody. But I'm gonna treat you good. But we just won't hang out later. Like we've been texting each other for a while. But I'm pretty easy to read, I think. So you picking up something, you're probably reading me right, dude.
I love it. I love it. Brother, I don't want this podcast to end without you being able to promote your business and the products in which you sell, because they are a cool aspect to the hunting community, and it's always fun to see American ingenuity at work and making a difference. So talk a little bit about Bow Hitch and what you got going on.
Well, I mean, I don't want to ruin it to make it salesy, dude. I'll just tell you guys we're American made. We're firefighter owned. We just it's like our business, the name of our business, Simply Savage Solutions. We make simple solutions for savages, dude. Like the premise of all of our designs is to be able to operate in a high stress environment without having to think. Like we're both firemen. Our tools are designed to be able to be used quickly without having to think about it. Like the last thing you need to do is worry about how to take your bow sling off, or how to, get your rifle up to a shooting position, or, they're just simple, really cool things that are, something that I learned was genius has the least moving parts. And so our stuff is pretty minimal,
I like that.
So anyway, super cool products. I'd love for you guys to check it out at thebowhitch.com. But I'm just grateful to be here with you guys today. And you guys are worthy. You can do it. Be a mentor. Be a beacon for somebody, because no matter what you are good at, you have something to offer that somebody else is lacking at. So use that. You're called on to do that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Let your light shine before men. And remember that gratitude makes everything enough. When you are grateful, it makes everything that you have, every situation, the highs and lows, enough. And that you are worthy. You are worthy. Brother, thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for sharing your stories, and amazing. I can't wait to hear about your daughter's hunt a little more in detail later on, brother, because I can tell that you were holding back. There's a lot more behind that.
There's an hour behind that, dude. There's tears. There's the whole 9 yards, man. It was pretty awesome.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Guys, go check out thebowhitch.com. Go pick yourself up a bow hitch because carrying your bow sucks, and you might as well let the hitch do it for you. If you enjoyed this podcast and enjoyed hearing everything from Armando, go give him a follow. Go let him know that you really appreciated this. On Instagram, it's the Bow Hitch, and I know he'd really appreciate that. Remember that life is happening for you. It's not happening to you. No victims here. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Soul Seekers podcast. Remember that hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure and that you can never outgive good, as mentorship is conservation. I'm Johnny Mack for Armando Martinez at the Bow Hitch from Simply Savage Solutions. Be blessed, freedom on, and as always, stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast and want to support the show, you can always like, share, subscribe, and leave a rating as it helps us share our mission of mentorship is conservation. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of Soul Seekers Nation as we transform lives through primal adventure. If you want to get more connected with the podcast, check out the Soul Seekers Nation Facebook group as I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. So stay tuned and stay soulful.